hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. I understand that it is weird to make seemingly normal content in a very strange world that we are living in at the moment. There's a lot of great sources and places that you can donate, which I highly encourage you to do, but I do hope that in some way my videos are a little way to escape and just kind of focus on something different for however many minutes this video is. So I hope you're all staying safe and healthy and positive in this incredibly dark time. Over the day, I'm showing you what I read. Like, this is weird. I know, I don't know. The first book that I read this month was an audiobook, and this was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This is kind of, I like to pitch it as like the movie Smart House from Disney. I don't know if you guys remember that? Like creepy, weird, like super technological house, weird stuff, nanny. This book is super hyped. Went into it with that knowledge, and I was really disappointed. I was bored, and it was like predictable, and like none of the twists were like that exciting or like new, I felt like. So yeah, I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars. Today's emoji book rating, it's gonna be that emoji that's like with the big eyes, and it's like, yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't understand the hype around it. I just felt it kind of fell flat for me. Next up, I read Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. This is a story about a young girl who is, I think it's set in the 30s. She's just kind of going through her life as a young African American, and she is kind of dealing with the racism and the discrimination of the time, as well as kind of trying to understand what her place is in the world and being a kid and growing up and coming of age and things like that. And it's kind of about her obsession with blue eyes. This book, I think, is beautiful. It tells a really beautiful story. Fellow English majors. I'm actually majoring in creative writing, but it's close enough. I read classics sometimes, and I read classics for fun. Let's pause. I read classics for fun sometimes, and I am constantly searching for my new favorite classic. I love classics. There's so many classics that I love. So when I talk about a classic that I really didn't like, I understand its merit. I understand what makes it like really great and a great book to study, but I didn't enjoy it. That is what this book is. Understand the merit of it. Toni Morrison's writing is great. How she weaves together characters is fantastic. I got the intention of the story, but I feel like there really was no story. I'm just stupid. I'm an idiot. Did I say I gave that 2 out of 5 stars? Next up, I read a book called Bookish and the Beast. I hate my reading taste too. This is the 3rd book in a companion series called Once Upon a Con. It's centering around this big like convention for this like beloved series that's like, it's kind of like Star Trek, and it's like based on this book series. It's kind of like Harry Potter. It's kind of like, you know, a big cult following. This one was the one that intrigued me the most. It also has not come out yet, though I did get an arc of it from NetGalley. It is about a girl who goes to the convention, got her own dark past, her mother passed away, ends up running into the guy that is like one of the main characters in like the show. It's like a show and a movie series, or like it was a show and now it's a movie series. It's something like that. And it's like their romance, and it's a good time. I think it was super fluffy. It was super fun. Cheesy, you know, in the right places. So it is a hetero romance, a female-male romance, but there are some diverse characters in the cast. I also believe that there's some diversity in ethnicity, however I don't remember. Some of the side characters had some queer representation, so we had one character who was bi and one character who was non-binary, and I loved that representation in the book. Yes, I like this book. It was cute and fun if you guys want a fluffy read for the summer. Sometimes what you need to like get out of a slump or get out of the mental fog. Next up, I DNF'd a book. I DNF'd a book that I was giving a second chance on because I'd already DNF'd it, and that is Highly Illogical Behavior by John Corey Whaley. This also has a queer main character. Our main character is gay, I want to say. This is about a kid with agoraphobia. He's been outside of his house in a really long time, and suddenly this girl who is like the same age, like would be in the same class as him, comes over to visit, and she decides that his agoraphobia and her fixing him is going to be her college essay, I think. It's going to be like what gets her into like a psych program. And I couldn't deal with this. I understand that the point of it was that like the female character, the character of Lisa, is like supposed to be problematic, supposed to like be someone who wants to be a psych major but like does not understand psychology because she's trying to fix someone with a mental illness, and that's not how mental illness works. It was unbelievably frustrating to the point where I couldn't stand reading this. It like made me ill, and it brought something, it didn't trigger me in any sense, but it kind of had this like almost triggering effect, and I just could not. And it's a short book, like, you know, I would love to have like suffered through the rest of it and it said I finished it, but I could not stand this book. I could not. It was so insufferable. And please let me know if you felt that way and it like redeemed itself. Like maybe I'll try reading this again. I read Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. This is a Lord of the Flies retelling. It's so fun. It's about these girls who are doing a beauty pageant and they're on their way to like the flight, and it's gonna be like broadcast on TV or something, and their plane crashes on this deserted island, and so it's about them learning how to survive, and there's like weird shit going on, conspiracies, there's like monkeys. Like, it's super wild, super fun. I love how the story was told. Actually, I listened to the audiobook for it and I'm so glad I did, because it has like normal chapters, but then it also has like a commercial break and like not interview style, but like transcript kind of style, and it's like, so it's multimedia, and I really enjoyed the audiobook. If you are able to listen to an audiobook, I would really recommend. It was really fun and it was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be, so I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. It was like a funny book, like it was a genuinely funny book, and I really liked it. This also has a female-female romance in it, has a female-male romance in it, and it's such a good book. I really recommend this. I know no people talk about it. Next up, I listened to the audiobook for Call Me By Your Name by Andre Eichmann. Who doesn't know what Call Me By Your Name is? This is about a young kid, or a teenager, named Elio. He's 17 and he goes to summer in, or does he live in Italy or does he summer in Italy? He goes to Italy every year, and every year in the summer they get like a graduate student who comes in and lives with them and immerses themselves in the culture and the language, and so this year it is a guy named Oliver is aloof and mysterious, and he's 24, and this is set in the 80s. The laws are different. This is cute. It has a lot of beautiful lines. I think the writing itself is really beautiful, which I've never heard anyone like say that about the book. I think they're more like, peach, like yeah, the writing is really beautiful and lyrical and kind of metaphorical. It has a lot to say about love and life and finding love in your life, and I think that was really beautiful. Especially, I listened to the audiobook, which is actually narrated by Armie Hammer, who plays Oliver in the movie. It's told from the perspective of Elio, but it's told from the future, and he's reflecting back on this summer. I think it's a beautiful story, a beautiful romance, and I was tossing up between a 3 and a 4. I'm giving it a 3, though I feel like in my heart it's a 4, just because I know that I think about this a lot. I think about immaculately described scenes of the Italian countryside. I think about the little bits of Italian in the book, which made me really happy. I just do really think about this relationship, and it's not a conventional one, obviously, with the age difference, and also with Oliver's character, who's really annoying in the beginning, but you kind of grow to love and to understand their flaws, and I think that's really important, so I really liked this book. Next up, I read The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James by Ashley Herring Blake. This was my first Ashley Herring Blake book, and I absolutely adored it. This is about a girl named Sunny St. James gets a heart transplant, and so she decides she wants to do all these things with her new heart because she was given this chance at life, I guess. So one of the first things is swimming, which she hadn't been able to do for a long time, and there she meets Quinn. They become instant best friends, and Sunny has to kind of tackle a lot of things that are going on in her life. Obviously, she just got a heart transplant, so there's a lot of things going on with that, like health-wise, and then she also has been living with her mother's best friend for like her entire life. She really doesn't remember her mom, but her mom ends up coming back in her life. And so she's kind of struggling with that, as well as her sexuality. Sunny discovers her interest in girls. This is so fantastic. I just love Ashley Herring Blake. She's one of my new favorite middle grade authors. I think she does a fantastic job tackling such big issues, such as like drug abuse and identity and things like that, for a younger audience, and I think that they're done incredibly well. So I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I think that her books are incredibly important, and they make me really happy and very inspired for the future generation. Next up, I read another Ashley Herring Blake book. This is Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World. This again has a female-female kind of thing going on in the forefront of the story. I love that she's bringing queerness into middle grade, which like never happened. This is about Ivy, who after a tornado hits, her house is completely destroyed, and she had these drawings that she used to do of girls holding hands and things like that she really kept private, and so they have now gone missing, and someone is actually using them to taunt her. So she's trying to figure that out. She's dealing with kind of not knowing who she is and trying to figure that out at such a young age. And she meets a girl named June and they instantly strike up a beautiful friendship. And yeah, so this is a lot about friendship. It's about self-discovery. It especially is about family relationships. Obviously a tornado tearing your house apart really sets some tension for your family, and Ivy comes from a really big family that she's always felt like she didn't really belong in and that she was always kind of forgotten. I love this book. It's so good. I read these back to back and I couldn't be happier. Like, I need more Ashley Herring Blake. Next up, I'm gonna kind of speed through this one just because when I read this book, or when I was talking about this book, I really didn't know anything about this author, and as of now I really don't support this author at all. So I read The Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky by Mackenzie Lee. Mackenzie Lee does not deserve Percy and Monty at all, but it was fun, it was quick. It was a novella about Percy and Monty having their first time. However, I am never going to read or buy another Mackenzie Lee book. Yes, if you want to know that controversy, use Google. There's too many things going on in the world. I can't. Next up, I DNF'd another book. I DNF'd The Meaning of Birds by Jane Robin Brown. This is a sapphic romance, and I was so excited because it deals with grief, it's hard hitting, it's like got so many things. Wow, was this bad? I read a lot of YA, as you can tell, and primarily YA is written by adults. Shocking. I am not an adult, not yet. I'm 17. It hurts when you can tell that like these people were never teenagers in this time period, because this was literally written in 2019 and the language was literally from the 80s, and it's not a period like piece. Like, it's not set in the 80s. It's supposed to be set in modern times, and I'm like, where? I got like 100 pages through this. Like, I was literally trying because I really wanted to understand the story. It deals a lot with grief and loss of loved ones like constantly. But my god, no. They said flip the bird. Who has ever said that in 2020? I've only heard that because I watch 80s and like 90s stuff. Like, no. It just felt like it was written by an adult, and I've only had that with a couple books that you can tell that like they just don't understand pop culture and how it is to go to high school now. And the last book I actually read I really liked, and that was Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. I'm obsessed with this book. I love like this cover. This is about a girl named Claudia who witnesses the breakup of the iconic duo at her school. Unfortunately, so now they hate her because they noticed her witnessing the breakup, and she has to be partners with one of the girls in that breakup. So Ivy, one of the girls in that relationship, and her get paired up to do a school project, and they end up being roped into doing stuff for the school play. While Claudia is helping with costumes, she meets a guy named Gideon, who is the star, and he takes a liking to her. So it's kind of about her kind of navigating whether or not she wants a new relationship. There's also a huge focus on family, which I loved, and friendship, and kind of having a best friend and trying to also have new friends and kind of balancing that, and also kind of looking forward to a new relationship when past relationships have kind of let you down and made you cautious going into relationships, I should say. And a lot of people kind of don't really like this book for the main character, Claudia. They're like, how does she not know this guy likes her? Why is she not getting in a relationship like for so long? But I really understand. There's something that happened in Claudia's past that was said to her, and it hit home, baby. Some people just tear you down and it kind of sticks with you, and I really like felt that. So I loved this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I love Emma Mills. I've literally only read 2 of her books, but I cannot stop, and I will not stop. Anyway guys, those are all of the books that I read in May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you're all staying safe and well. Peace and love. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!